All right, everybody. Welcome back to Followtonians,
What's
episode
one of them?
194. Huh?
What's one of them?
I don't know, but we're doing this stuff right now. We're
Woo!
doing it. Do
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 it.
it. Do
Top
it.
of the top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Nice. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see what we're laughing about. It's mostly just Ped's face and something obnoxious on top of it.
Yeah, just keep going. Keep
There
going.
you go. So, yeah. Uh, Long time no chat, Ped.
Aye, our demise has been greatly exaggerated.
Yes. I was getting Ronery.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, there's no great reason why we haven't been doing shows. It's because
no,
basically
it's not a great reason other than a hole in my wall.
Eric's been building a bathroom for the last month, and basically that's took up all his time. And plus, the website's died on us as well, which we're trying to get front.
That and plus Everton's been utter crap
Yeah,
and like I put in the show notes, my mom has always told me if you if you cannot say something nice.
yeah.
So why
No, that
do a
hasn't
show
that
if
that, that hasn't
oh.
stopped us for 5 years, Eric. So
No, this is
no,
episode 194, and I'm pretty sure that at least 170 of those have been bitching and moaning.
about something anyway. No, but the
Yeah,
website has sort of decided to go smash on us, and the people supposed to fix it haven't fixed it yet. So
yeah.
it
Mike
does feel
McKenna,
it
James
does
Hall.
it does feel like we've completely vanished off the earth, but we haven't. We're here. We're getting
We're,
back into it.
we're getting stuck in. It's like Everton against Newcastle.
Oh
Just
yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I'm confused, Ped. Two wins in a week.
2 wins in a week. Well, the first one
I'm pretty
obviously.
sure that has not happened all year long.
Well, I think it has. I think it's happened maybe a couple of times.
It doesn't feel like it.
I think West Ham and Wolfsburg, and I think earlier on in the season, what was it? When we played.
Friendlies
No,
in
we
no,
didn't win
that
any
didn't even happen.
friendlies. I think
That
when we
didn't
played.
even happen.
I think when we played West Brom, and then we played in the Europa League. I think it was possibly Wolfsburg.
Tranmere and Paderborn. No, that didn't work either.
No, so we picked the right show to come back to. We picked the right one.
Yeah, yeah, it's good
A
stuff.
couple of good wins, and hopefully, a turn has been made. Because let's be honest, if we'd done shows in the last 3 weeks, it would have just been really, really desperately bad. If we'd done a show
Yes.
after the Stoke game, God knows what I would have said.
Yeah.
Bad things.
Yes, very bad things. People calling for Martinez's head. People wanting Tim Howard to. Oh wait, we've pretty much did that already.
Mhm.
Um, so what should we talk about first? I guess we'll talk about them in order
Mhm.
from the matches we missed, going all the way. No, we'll just start with Kiev and move on. Uh, Horrible start. First half hour was completely what we would expect out of Everton.
Mm.
What we've come to expect out of Everton. Very slow play, a lot of sideways passing, not much direction forward, and concede on a corner kick at the near post.
Yeah, I think after the Stoke game, I think we all thought we were going to get a response straight away, and it was going to be, from the first whistle, we were going to be right at Kiev, knowing how important the game was to our season. But as you mentioned there, we were really slow getting started, and again, we go behind to a really poor goal, and the fans weren't too happy, and even after the
No, the
goal.
fans were completely pissed off.
Well, they were, but they didn't. Wasn't like all this mad, widespread booing. Then everyone keeps on.
It's not like Sunderland at halftime.
No, everyone keeps over exaggerating all this booing nonsense. I'm not having any of that. But people make their feelings known, and I don't think there's too much wrong with that. While the game's not, it's not booing as such. It's more just trying to just force some kind of tempo amongst the players, just to sort of, because even after we've gone a goal behind, we've seen the incident with Alcaraz, so laid back and nearly costing us second goal, and
Right.
I think fans were just sort of saying, come on, we've got to get into this, because it's not good enough. You need to start doing something, and I think we got the chance where Lukaku nearly had the shot when the keeper was out, and then from then on we got back into the game. There was some kind of rhythm, some kind of tempo. Players started to sort of realise what the game was all about, and the fans got behind the players, and it worked. It all come together, and
as bad as the first half hour was, the next hour of that match was really good.
Yeah, it was. There was a really good tempo, and not only was there a good tempo, but players were taking responsibility for things, and some of the leadership quality started coming out in some of the players as well, and we started to see players starting to look like they were really sort of interested and really cared about where the season was going, and felt like they could also dictate where the season was going.
Yeah, so talk about our goal. First one.
Well, it was Lukaku at his best, wasn't it? It was really, Lukaku, how we want to see him playing, getting the ball, using his strength to hold players off, running with the ball, and then great awareness, something that he's not, we don't always talk about, so he's not always given credit for, is his awareness when he's got the ball, and he plays a lovely little ball into Naismith, who does what Naismith typically does. One of the things he does well, or maybe some people the only thing he does well, great finish, puts it in the corner and gets us back into the game, and it was not, it was exactly what we deserved for the previous 10 minutes to go into half time at 1-1, but we had the chance from a corner as well, and you could just tell from that point we were really up for it and really wanted to take it to Kiev, and they sort of just fell away at that point. You would expect the team to probably get the away goal, and think, well, we can possibly sit on this now, or we can defend well, and I think maybe that's what they did. They got caught in two minds. They weren't sure whether to just sit back and try and hold what they had, or go for another one, and they got caught out, and our pressure on them meant that we looked dangerous pretty much every time we went forward.
Yeah, I love the run by Lukaku, the control. I put on Twitter and equated it to a downhill slalom skier just knocking over the post of a gate as he's going along. It was like people just bouncing off of him like he was a brick house, which he is, and he needs to play more like that, and just assert his size on people. It's something that we haven't seen nearly as much of as we need to. So it was really great to see him put in that effort, keep the ball, knock people around, and Naismith he's just doing what Naismith does. He's in the right spot at the right time, and he makes good with what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to put the ball in the net whenever he gets a chance, and more times than not, it seems to go in. So
yeah, he's a good finisher, Naismith. Yeah, and going back to what you're saying there about Lukaku, if you play to Lukaku's strengths, he'll do that all day long for you. Yeah. When you play it down the side for him, when you play it, into him, and he's not having to, come back into his own half and try and hold it up. I mean, yeah, we know sometimes the ball just bounces off him, but if you play it in the right areas for him, if you play it on the turn for him, he's away, and he's got this great way of having the ball in front of him and putting his body between himself and the opposition player, and just, as you said, just using that strength to hold them off. And sometimes you think it's got away from him, but he can just uses his body so well that he can just run with the ball so well. So we've seen a lot more recently from him. His form has improved greatly. He's looking stronger as games go on as well. He's looking a lot fitter. I mean, if you think about this time last year, he was. We used to just play an hour mostly, didn't he? And look really, really tired. Yeah. But this season, I think, as the season's gone on, as bad a season as it's been, I mean, he's been a real positive for us, and he looks like he's getting stronger and fitter within his own body as well. So, I mean, that can only be a massive bonus as the season goes on.
Yeah, and there's just a kind of maybe a slight change in philosophy I've noticed, and that's forward runs out of the midfield to support him. It seems like he's had a lot more opportunities to get the ball to people moving in a forward motion instead of just laying it off and it's very static. It just seems like the past couple of matches there's been a lot more support moving forward when he gets the ball.
Yeah, he's that's his role is to play on his own, and when he does play on his own, he needs those people to support him, and that's when we've been at our poorest is when he's completely isolated. So it is up to the midfield players. It's supposed to be a 4-3-3 or something similar. So if it's a 4-3-3, people have got to get round them and create space for them, which is something we've seen a lot more of in the Newcastle game, which we'll talk about. When people get round them and support them, they open up space. They drag people away. They make those spaces open that he can run into. So when he's isolated, it's not it's just not there for him. So players have to help him.
What's going on with Morales? Because he didn't seem like he was all that much into the match. Gets subbed out, and then he doesn't make the squad for Newcastle.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, listen, since the whole contract thing came out, he's been in the team, he's been out the team. When he's played, he hasn't really made a contribution apart from the goal he scored against Young Boys. He's been, I don't know. He just looks like a player. I don't know. Maybe feels his time is up, or the manager feels his time's up at the club. He just. It's strange because if he wants, I mean, unless he's got a deal already agreed to go somewhere, or he feels like he's got a deal to go somewhere, he wouldn't really be impressing me if I was watching him. I was, a scout watching him. Maybe the manager doesn't feel like he's put enough effort in, but at the weekend, I believe he was injured, failed the fitness test, but I don't know. It's a strange one. When he's at his best, Morales, he's really, really good, but when he's uninterested, then you can do without him. You really can. He doesn't, he doesn't affect the game enough for me when he's, when he's on it, when he's really, really on it, like the West Ham game in the cup. He looks such a great player, but he's not a great player because he's so inconsistent. So he's never going to find that move to a really, really top club because he's just simply not consistent enough. Whether that be in his play or his attitude. I mean, clubs will buy players on their attitude as much as their football ability, because if they're not on it every single game, then how can a club trust a player? But I'm sure. I just think he probably feels like he's already got a deal, maybe agreed. Yeah, he's got something agreed or whatever. I don't know. He's making it very, very easy for us to just say, yeah, thanks. Bye. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'd feel 10 times worse if he was playing really, really well and we were looking to sell him. I mean, at the moment he's a lot of people will just say, well, if we can get 10, 15 million for you, then I'd be really, really happy with that. So we'll see what happens.
Well, let's talk about a player that has come back into the squad in Leon Osman, because he gets subbed in the Kiev match, and then he makes he features in the Newcastle match, but he comes in, and he is older. He's a little slower. He's not quite as dynamic as he used to be. He's missing the play with Pinar and Baines quite a bit, but he puts in a shift still. He's able to control that middle. We talked about this last year. He just gives you a little bit more time on the ball in critical areas.
He uses all his experience. He uses his head. He uses all his experience, and his little cameos that certainly in this game. He gives you something that's been missing. I think he gives you that wise head, and certainly against Newcastle. playing out on the left. He played a lot more like a player that we've needed to have, a player that'll just stay out there on the left and give us some kind of shape. But I thought against Kiev, I think he did really, really well when he come on, and he just uses all of his experience. He's a good player. He's got quick feet. He goes into areas. He's not someone who's just gonna run around for the sake of it. He's not someone who's gonna lose the ball for the sake of it either. He's methodical. He uses the ball well, and I think that's something we've missed in the last few weeks. He's also a really good leader on the pitch. He knows what it's all about. He knows what it's about to play for Everton, and he's a talented footballer. And you give him these little cameos, or you put him in games where you need someone to take on some kind of responsibility, or just someone who'll just play in a position and not wander out of it. And I think that's what you get with Liam Osman. He's someone we've really, really missed, to be honest. And hopefully in the weeks and games to come, he can be in and around the team. Okay, he mightn't play every game, but especially on that left-hand side, we've been crying out for someone to play on that side and help Baines out and be the link between, for Baines to go forward. And I think that's what we've really, really missed.
Any controversy in the penalty for you? Were you surprised that it was given?
No, not really. It was handball. So
I was kind of surprised it was given just because of a continental referee and just it's a Europa match. It could have gone. Oh yeah, but I definitely thought it was a handball.
If you put your hand in the air like that, it's handball, isn't it?
Wave it around like you just don't care.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, then that there's nothing down for you really, is there? So that's I can see what you're saying about being but the rules are there. If it's handball, it's handball. So
yep.
So I thought it was stonewall. As I say, Osman done really, really well to get that penalty.
Yep, Lukaku takes it, and then he. I mean, I don't know how great of a penalty it was, straight down the middle, but it goes in straight down the middle, and we get the lead 2-1, and then we push on for a third, and I thought a third was coming. It was good to see the Kone came in right before this, right before we got the penalty, and he and Lukaku. It was crazy. Two strikers on the pitch at the same time, creating more space for each other because the defense couldn't focus on just one of them. It's a novel concept that we haven't seen for quite a while.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
It is a bold. Let's see how that works out for him. But it was nice to see that. A great work. On the left, Kone almost drills one. Would have liked to seen him get a goal.
Yeah, we could have done with that third goal just to take the pressure off for the away tie. Obviously,
yeah.
It's gonna be tough over there, and a 1-0 win for them would be enough. But I think we're capable of scoring. I think we've got goals in us, and I think
it's good. I think it's set up good for us because I think we are kind of more of a counter-attacking team. We seem to do well whenever people pressure us or try to score against us and don't sit back as much. So the fact that Kiev has to score, and hopefully it's not in the 8th minute at the near post. But even at that, we've conceded first in our last 3 Europa League matches and won all of them.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think if we get it, I think it's when going over there, it's about quietening the crowd down. That's what it's really all about. It's about quietening them down, getting through the first 20 minutes, and then seeing where the game is. But from what I've seen in this game, we are clearly good enough to beat them. Over there. And as I say, another goal would have really, really capped it off. But 2-1 win.
It's better than a tie.
That's exactly what what we would have wished for. Obviously, we wouldn't have wished for an away goal, but as I say, I think we can go over there and get one. And if we get one, then I think that'll be it for it. I don't know. Do you know what? If we, I can imagine it being maybe a 2-2 draw, something like that. I think we'll just do enough. Fancy is just to do enough. I think the momentum's on our side, but it will be tough. They're a lot better team at home, and they'll have the crowd behind them, and the conditions and of after all our travel and stuff. So.
So we're going to do enough to get our name in the pot for Jersey Dudek to draw out again?
Yeah, I think just about. I think we'll just about have enough, hopefully, anyway.
The only Polish hero football player ever?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Newcastle, because they come into Goodison on Sunday, and 5 changes from Martinez.
Yeah.
A little concerning? Or were you okay with them?
No, I was happy with them because they represented really attacking lineup. I mean, 4-4-2. That was fantastic to see us going 4-4-2. Just the fact that we were going to have a go, and just by the team that what. Okay, Baines is back. I wasn't completely sure about that, just because Garbutt played quite well, but that's I wasn't sure because I wasn't sure if Baines was 100%, because we've had too much of that this season where players have been 100%, have gone out the team, come back into the team. But you looked at the midfield, and McCarthy's. I thought he was great against Kiev. I thought he really put a shift in and really looked back to himself. So. With him and Gibson in midfield, Gibson's a forward-looking player. He's always getting the ball and looking forward. He's positive. He's always looking for runs. He's always looking for the full-backs or the wingers.
He's gotten. I guess maybe we've forgotten his ability, but his ability to pick out a pass has been greatly received since he's come back into the side.
Well, listen, you were here 3 years ago. And you hear when he scored the goal against Man City, and how important he was at the time, how much he ran that team, and how much his influence was on that team. And over the last since Martinez come, people have sort of forgotten that he's been like waved aside with so much of the old sort of era. But for me, he's a top player. He's just unfortunate that he's just very, very injury prone. But when you've got him available and fit 100%. You've got to use him to his best ability, and what we've seen is him recently. He looks a lot fitter. He looks fitter, and he can get up and down. He can play 90 minutes, and playing in there with McCarthy. I mean, we're used to having 3 centre midfielders, but in this game, we only had 2 because McCarthy can do so much, and Gibson's so effective with the ball. And what that meant was obviously, we had Lennon on the right, absolutely buzzing, and Osman on the left, giving us that little bit of shape. Obviously, he could come inside as well. But he wasn't coming inside. He wasn't coming inside that much. He was pretty much staying out on the left and making sure that we were pretty solid. Because what's been happening far too much in too many games is we've had Naismith or Barkley on the left, and they come in the central too often, and they allow us to be squeezed centrally, and teams find it too easy to get go against us. Where on Sunday, I felt with Osman, we looked like we had a solid shape, and Baines wasn't exposed 2 versus 1, and it meant 4-4-2, Lukaku and Kone up front. And as we spoke about before, Kone, okay, he didn't have a massively great game as a threat, but he created so much space for Lukaku to run into. He dominated the other centre-back, he dominated the full-back, and Lukaku got one-on-one with Colaccini all the time, and Lukaku could expose him. So, for me, it worked. It's not going to happen every week, and it won't fit every week, but for this game, it really was effective, and in a game where we needed to go out there and win, it really played the part.
Yeah, one player you briefly mentioned there, and we talked about Morales in the Kiev match. I wanted to get your take on Aaron Lennon and his performance in this, because I thought he was a breath of fresh air. I loved the attitude. I loved the work that he put in, and it just seemed like he's here to do a job. And would you trade him spots with Morales and send Morales down to White Hart Lane?
No, I wouldn't like to see Morales stay in this country, but he's a strange one, Lennon, because he's, I don't know, in the last few games I don't know if we've seen enough of him, but in this game he said this was his as you'd say, his breakout game. He was busy, he was effective. I still worry about his end product. I really do. I think he there's not enough end product for me, whether it be shooting or crossing. He doesn't, when he crosses, he just seems to cross into an area rather than.
His cross to Barkley though should have gotten put in.
Yeah, but no, I'm not having a go. What I'm saying is he still needs to do things to convince me. He was very busy though. I mean,
yes,
to get the penalty was absolutely brilliant. He was a nuisance all day. Again, though, I still would have liked to have seen him get wider and be more of a threat.
I think he and Coleman need a couple more training sessions together, because there were a couple of times where they weren't exactly sure where they wanted each other to be and how to work together. But the ideas and the skill is there. The ideas are there. It's just the communication's not quite there.
He pulled inside a lot of the time to allow Coleman to go down the wing, but Coleman was nowhere near. And I think if he does that, he's got to recognise that Coleman's not there, and then go outside go outside, because there's so many times that we were streaming forward, and there was no option on the right. He kept on coming inside, and the player in possession was waiting for someone to go wide, and they weren't. So there's things like that to work on, but generally I thought he had a good game, and as I say, he was really, really busy, really active, really asked questions of the left side of Newcastle's defence, and he was a threat all game. He's genuine pace as well, can move the ball up to the other end of the pitch really, really quickly as well. He also helps back, he tracks back, he helps he helps Coleman out as well from that side of things. Yep. I'd just like to see him be a little bit more decisive about what he's going to do in the final third. Whether he's
I agree. I agree with that, but I think it also has to do with his short time playing with some of the players that he's with. There was a couple moments where, like I said, he just wasn't sure what people expected him to do. So maybe it'll come.
No, I absolutely agree. I just to be honest, at times I think that was
hard to join a squad mid-season. It's really hard.
No, it is. It is. I think at times Coleman's got to be looking to go past him, but at the same time, I think Coleman hasn't had a great season, and he's searching for confidence himself, and I think at times Coleman was basically just saying, "Listen, we've got this. We don't need to take risks, so I'm not going to go forward." And there just has to be that belief between them. But hopefully that'll come. It's going to have to come, because if Lennon wants to earn himself a contract for the money that Tottenham are talking about, he's going to have to do a little bit more, I think. Or he's certainly going to have games where he, a lot more games like he did on Sunday, where he's in the game all the time.
Yeah,
because,
all over the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. But he looks like he's happy. He looks like he's, fitting in, and it certainly looks like Martinez has given him a role to do. I mean, when he came in, people were asking how much he was going to play, and obviously he's played pretty much all the time, apart from the European games. So he's getting games. He's getting plenty of time, and obviously Martinez likes to switch around those wingers anyway. At times he likes to play, one game in, one game out. So it's not anything about himself. So he's getting plenty of opportunities. I just want to see in the last 9 league games, I want to see him take a lot more responsibility on him. I want him to be selfish at times and take people on and shoot, and I want him to put crosses into a lot more dangerous areas. And then if he does that, he'll earn himself a contract.
Yep, no problem. Definitely. Let's go through the goals quickly here. First one, pass up to Lukaku, does really well to hold the ball and drops it off, and it's one of these forward runs out of the midfield that I talked about. Man, it's really good to see McCarthy get on the score sheet. Not exactly a great shot, but Tim Krul does his best Tim Howard impression and falls the wrong way and gets beat near post.
Yeah, listen, I've said about James McCarthy for a while. This is something that he could do a lot more of. He just doesn't.
Yep.
Whether it's to do with the position, where he's told to play, I don't know. But he's so busy, so much. He's got so much energy, and he travels so quickly over the ground as well. I want to see him do this, going past the centre forward, and he done that really, really well. And I wasn't not quite sure what the goal he was doing. Maybe he was expecting it to go somewhere else, and maybe just got sort of caught on his heels. But it ended up in the back of the net, and it was the bit of luck we needed. But what I liked about this was Jagielka picks the ball, plays a long ball into Lukaku. It's not a long ball because it is a long ball, but you know what I mean. He plays it into Lukaku. Lukaku just drops
it. It's a long ball with purpose. It's a long pass more than it is a hoofed clearance.
Yeah, but it's with purpose. Lukaku drops it off, and there we've got to run him from. And it was basic, but it's good football at the same time. And this was something I would say about the whole game. There wasn't too much passing for passing's sake. It wasn't just centre back to centre back, full back to centre back. There was a lot of purpose. Players were looking up and seeing the opportunity, and I think that happened because of the formation. Because players were playing in positions that they were happy being in, and they created space for a lot more other players. I want to see that, especially when we're playing poor opposition. Okay, when you're playing better opposition, you've got to be maybe a little bit more disciplined and have more men in midfield. But for this particular game, we could do that. And listen, I've said this so many times. There's a lot more poorer teams in the Premier League than there are good teams.
Right.
So you've got to, when you play against the poorer side, you've got to be looking to set yourself up to go out and be offensive and beat them, and not be cagey and say, we can't break these down, or these have worked us out. If someone's worked you out, well, then redo it. Newcastle would have come to Goodison Park.
Plan B?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're talking about, Ben?
Well, Newcastle would have come to Goodison Park thinking, we know what these are going to do. 4-3-3. They do it every game. They've done it for the last 18 months. We know exactly what they're going to do. We didn't. We changed it up. We played 4-4-2. We messed with their minds a little bit, and it worked. And that's what you've got to do against opposition. And you know what? The football wasn't any less effective. We still had 54% of the possession. We still won the possession. It was just a different way of playing what Martinez wants to play. That's all it was, and that's not Martinez changing his philosophy or his style or anything.
No, it's just changing his formation.
Changing your formation. That's all it is.
Yeah. Red card for you? Straight red?
At first, I wasn't exactly sure what had happened. I mean, I'd seen the tackle go in, and I actually thought at first the other player was getting sent off for kicking the ball at Lennon. But when I watched it on the replay, it's a definite red.
Above the ball.
He goes in with 2 feet, and just because he didn't make connection doesn't make it any better. He went in with 2 feet. It's again,
Lennon is very lucky, because it could have been really bad.
But it was really good play from Lennon. He tricked them. He tricked them really well. With his pace. But on the penalty as well, I'll just say again, another penalty. Lukaku scores it, and he's getting his goal scoring up, and no problem with that at all. I mean,
quick question for you on that, because in the Kiev match, Baines wasn't on the pitch, but he was on the pitch for this one. Is Lukaku the new first choice penalty taker at Everton?
It looks like it, because if he wasn't, Baines would have took it, and there obviously wasn't any argument over it because he took the last couple as well. So, and you know what? I've always felt like Baines was a reluctant penalty taker. He's a good penalty taker, but I've always felt like he was a bit reluctant to take them. I know he's really, really good at them, but if you've got to play, this one wasn't like the Morales one. Morales one, it was more very sort of like selfish, and it felt like
I earned it. I'm taking this. Yeah. And nobody's going to take this away from me, and I'm doing this, and then I'm going to put it wide.
Whereas you probably felt like Lukaku probably would have said, "Can I have this?" And he probably went, "Well, yeah, if you want it." And he, it was a lot more convincing than the one he took against Kiev. I know that for sure. The one against Kiev was very, very nervous, or certainly certainly seemed nervous. I mean, it mightn't have been. It just felt like it. But this one, you put it right in the corner, and that's great. That's what you want to see your
Yeah.
striker doing, because
Well done.
if a striker's scoring goals, no matter what, if he's getting his averages up. I mean, he's scored more goals this season than he did last season. He was getting assists as well. He's on course for 20 goals, and you know that people say he was over. We overpaid for him, but where would we be this season without Lukaku's goals? Where would we be? And that's sometimes you have. Sometimes you have to pay.
Europe still, that's for sure. We wouldn't be 14th in the Premier League, that's for sure.
I know, especially when you look at where the other goals have come from. Okay, Naismith scored a few, but I'll tell you what, we haven't scored that many goals. So, okay, £28 million. Yes, we've always said it. We probably paid over the top for him, but this is a guy who scored 16 last season. Now he's on course for hopefully getting 20 goals this season. You'd like to think, and that's what you've got to do, isn't it? Okay, I think he scored around the same as Costa now, hasn't he? I think so.
Yeah, in all competitions, yes.
Yeah.
No. But so that's good.
Yeah.
Lennon I mentioned Lennon with a great pass for Barkley, who just is not having the luck, and Newcastle clears it off the line. He just had to find a way to get that one in. But it just didn't happen. Lennon gets subbed off for Atsu, and then Atsu and Barkley work a really great combination. Barkley gets around Krul and puts it in, and you can just feel the entire weight of an elephant come off of Barkley's shoulders whenever that goes across the line.
Yeah, it was it's a really good goal, to be honest. I mean, it's obviously they've only got 10 men, and it is literally in the 93rd minute, and Atsu, great run by Atsu, and a really good ball as well, just to really well paced, well timed, good way to pass for Ross to run onto, and
it looks really like an African Cup of Nations most valuable player right there.
Yeah, and it's a shame really with Atsu, because we're not going to get the best of him probably. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. Whether we maybe try for another year on loan, I'm not sure, but we'll wait and see. But Ross, very, very confident, takes it around the goal and put it away, and that's exactly what he needed as well, because obviously he hasn't been in great form and people have been questioning him. But we're talking about a kid who's 21, who's had an in and out season, not playing in his own position, and that's exactly what he needed, and it's all positive. It's all positive going into the last, certainly the last 9 Premier League games, and hopefully more Europa League games. This is all as fans that we've been asking for. We've been doing shows in the last few weeks. I would have been screaming for a little bit more
intent,
optimism,
a little bit more heart, a little bit more
intensity, optimism, heart, going out there and really having a go. And
I think Graf would be a good word you'd use.
Yeah, leadership, all these little qualities that we've certainly seen, certainly in the Newcastle game and certainly in the last hour of the Kiev game. That's what we've seen. And listen, Newcastle wasn't perfect by any means. We looked nervous at times. We looked shaky. But you're talking about a team that hasn't won a home game since the middle of December. There was always going to be nerves. And I think, we could have won this game maybe 4 or 5. But at 2-0, I think we were very content with just getting the 3 points. That's all it was. That's all it was about. And
shout out to Tim Howard.
Well, I was going to say it.
And a great save down to his left, strong hand.
Couple of great saves, made that good save in the first minute. And game could be completely different if Newcastle take a lead there. So he made a couple of great saves. And a 2-1, if they got a goal back with 10 minutes to go, could have been a very, very nervous ending, because that's what we were crying out for that win. But hopefully now that we've got that win, it might just settle us down a little bit. I think.
Yeah, up to 31 points. We're 14th in the league, but we're putting some distance between us and 18th. And
to be honest,
there's less distance between us and the couple of squads above us. So it's just like, can we get a couple more? Can we climb that ladder? Can we get a couple of more people beneath us? Can we string some wins together, and what can happen from that point on? And, the season's not lost, but we definitely need to go on a run.
I said before the game that I felt like we could get 5 wins out of 10, and that's what we should be aiming for at the very least. You look at the teams we're playing. Five wins is no way out of the question with this Everton team.
Right.
We've got a really good squad full of really good players.
And that's the most frustrating part about
one
this.
Reason, for one reason or another, this has just been a really poor league season for us, and hopefully towards the end of the season the pieces start to fall into place, and Roberto Martinez will have learned from everything that's gone on, and that's all I've always ever wanted. I've never called for his head once. I've always said just learn and please adapt, and if you adapt, then you'll become a better manager. And I'm just hoping he's realising that
Yep.
You've got to adapt. You can't just go out there and be stubborn and play the same team every week. So that's great. And I genuinely feel we can win at least another League 4 league games this season. But we always had to win that first one. We had to get that. I mean, you're going to Goodison, and apart from the Europa League games, it's been a very, very poor season. When you think about the last time we won was December against QPR. And there's only been one Premier League win between then and now. So we just had to get this game won, and we did. And the third goal was the little cherry on top. And I'm just glad. And the mad thing is, with Burnley winning, we're sort of no better off than we were when it comes to the relegation zone. But just winning that game takes so much pressure off us now. I do feel in the league now we can go on and certainly let's take the confidence from this game, go on and get more wins.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back to preview the 2 matches we've got coming up. Quickly.
Mm-hmm. Already spoke about most of them.
I know. That's why I said quickly. We don't really need to go into too much.
No.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're back on Followtonians, brought to you by Absent Services Limited. Yes, we are back, and hopefully getting into a more regular schedule with the podcast. It's definitely something that we've missed doing. We love talking Everton, and sometimes life just gets in the way.
But can I just say, Eric?
Yes.
If you do need, if for any reason we're not here and you do need your Everton fix, there are other shows available that I am involved with. We all know this.
Toffee TV is a great thing that you and Baz do. And
if you haven't found Toffee TV, go and find it on YouTube. Toffee TV. It's youtube.com/EFC TV1. It's like this, but it's got moving pictures. But recently we got an interview with David Unsworth, which was really, really good at Finch Farm.
There's no crazy American accents or anything like that on it, so it's a lot easier for you all to understand.
That's just because of location differences. If you were here, Eric, you'd be on it. Of course you would, but you're not, so we can't be. We can't fly you in every week, but so make sure you're catching that as well. If you can't watch that, we podcast that as well on. If you get Followtonians on SoundCloud, it comes from the same place. So it's all the same family. It's all the same family. So just
share the love.
So get involved in that as well.
Yeah. All right. So we travel to Kiev. Not we, you and me, but the club travels to Kiev in a couple of days. We've already talked about it. You said 2-2. I think we can get a win there, which would be great. Just move on and get into the quarterfinals and see who we get drawn up against.
Yeah, listen, let's just get over there, get a win. I mean, team-wise, I can imagine.
All smash and grab job.
Yeah, I think Barry will be back, obviously, because he's suspended for the 2 league games, so we'll probably be back. Well, listen, that's the manager's prerogative. But what I think's good about this game is, if you think about games like Krasnodar and you think about games like Lille away, we went into those games, and we had a plan, and we stuck to it, and we got the result that was needed at the time. And I think we can do something similar in this game. We can go over there, and as you mentioned earlier, got to be very careful that we don't go into it thinking, right, well, the draw's enough, so let's play for that, because that sometimes can be your downfall. We've got to go there thinking, right, we need a goal. But, we've been to places like Wolfsburg where they came at us, they had a good go at us, and we just held back. Yeah. We held back, played on the counter-attack. I think that's maybe why I'm sure he'll bring Morales back in for this game if he's fit, because obviously no Lennon, so you need that pace as well.
Stone's back.
I think he probably will be for this game. I think you need that little bit more. You need someone at the back who is a little bit more assured in possession. Alcaraz has clearly got like a mistake in him, and I just worry, about him, to be honest. So maybe Stone's back as well, and I think we just get through those first 20 minutes. Their crowd will be up for it, very, very loud, very facetious. They'll be well up for it. We just get through that first 20 minutes, no silly mistakes, keep them quiet. They'll be thinking, well, if we can get 1-0 up, and then we can try and close the game out. But listen, we just need to get that goal. If we can get that goal, then that puts us in a fantastic position. Then, because the away goals are out of it. Then then they have to beat us. It's as simple as that. So if we can get that away goal, then we're up for. I think we're good enough to beat them. I think we're a better team than them. It's just dealing with everything that goes around it. I mean, okay, things like tiredness and all that shouldn't come into it. I'm sure we'll travel.
That was 5 changes, yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll travel in plenty of time to get over there and make sure that we're all in the right conditions to play the game. It's more what happens after this game, to be honest, that we will be affected by tiredness and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go down to QPR, and this match is definitely very important for both clubs. It's if we win, we put some more points between us and the drop. If they lose, they're in a really bad place.
I think, yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, the difficulty is going to be coming off the Kiev game and going into this game with the travel and everything. I'm not sure whether they're just going to fly straight into London, do it that way. I'm not sure about that, but that's going to be the difficult part, coming off the Kiev game and obviously not having a lot of time to prepare. It's 4 o'clock Sunday, so they've got a little bit more time, but I think this is their sort of pinnacle game. The mad thing is, QPR have only actually won 1 less game than us. It's just that they've lost 19 games.
Yeah, they haven't drawn very many.
So I think I think they're going to see this game as their make and break game, and knowing that we're going to be tired, or some of our players certainly going to be tired. They're going to come at us. They're going to come at us. They're going to come at us the first 20 minutes. It's how we deal with that. But they're a fragile team. They've lost the last 4. They've only won 1 in the last 10. I think I think that was away to Burnley, was it?
Can you put a tenner on a Joey Barton red card for me? Because I have a feeling the odds on that are probably pretty short.
Yeah. That's if he's back, yeah. But they've only won 1 game, and they've lost 8 of the last 10 games. I mean, listen, they're not a good side, and I just think if we can go down there, grind a win out, that'll see us safe and able to move on with the rest, with what's remain of the season. Confident in that we will be playing for our own pride and our own where we want to finish. And I think it's the same thing.
To think that 34 points with 7 matches left, and you'd feel okay.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, it's. But what I mean is, I think you take confidence from that. I mean, you asked me after the Stoke game, I was thinking, well, where's the next win coming from? You look at the fixtures now. Everyone's suddenly a hard game, but in reality, that they're not all like that. It's just how you are. It's how you're playing. Whereas now, I'm looking at the table, and I'm thinking, well, we've got 31 points. West Ham have got 39 points. There's only 8-point gap. They've only won 1 in the last 10 games. Okay, we've only won 2 in the last 10 games. But you think you're looking at it and thinking, right.
But we're looking up, they're looking down. It's one of those kind of things.
We are at the moment. But what you think is if we think positively, we put a run together, then that's what we want to be looking at. We want to be looking at and thinking, right, let's finish. Can we catch Newcastle? They've only got 35 points, only 4 points out. Can we catch Newcastle? If
Absolutely.
we catch Newcastle, can we catch West Ham? That's the way we've got to be thinking now. Not thinking what's below us. And I think if we can win on Sunday, then that mentality of looking below us, that goes. Then I think you're looking at it and thinking, well, Leicester are not going to catch us,
Right.
Leicester, QPR wouldn't be catching us if we beat them. Burnley or Sunderland probably wouldn't be catching us, and that's where you start thinking. That.
With the way the League Cup went, the 6th place goes to Europa League. With the way the FA Cup is looking, like it's very possible that 7th place could get a spot.
Yeah.
Is that the focus to just get at least to 7th and see what we do in the Europa League this year? Just get back into Europe, because if we do well, I mean, we've already done well in Europa League. I would imagine that if we can get back into the Europa League, then our coefficient's going to be a lot higher than it was. We shouldn't be put into the 3rd pot. We could get into at least the 2nd. I'm talking out of my backside here and here, but the season was so poor up until yesterday.
The top 7 is now the top 7. We could if we went on a brilliant run and the other teams above us never really went anywhere, we could maybe
it's going to be hard.
We couldn't finish top 7. I mean, there's 19 points between us and there, Eric. We're not. There's not happening.
Isn't that just amazing, though? That there's 19 points between us and 7th.
Well, the 7th place Tottenham at the moment, they're on 50, and below them is Stoke on 42. So top 7 of the top 7, and we're not catching them. What's really annoying is the 4th place team at the moment have got 56 points, and we finished the season with 72 last season, and we finished 5th. So
right,
that's the most annoying thing. But no, I that's what I'd be looking. If we go to QPR and we can beat them, then that's when you start thinking, right, let's go and catch the teams above us. It's as simple as that. Let's go and catch Newcastle. Let's go and catch West Ham. Let's have a really strong finish to the end of the season.
Especially with the new TV deal, every spot is a lot of money. Exactly,
and money is players. That's the way you got to look at it. Let's give, them players should be thinking to themselves, let's give these fans something to cheer about. And if we're in the Europa League and we're playing well in the league as well, then it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, if we get through the Europa League on Thursday, and then we can beat QPR, then really
everybody will feel like the league is at least settled. We're not worried about the relegation as much, and then we can focus on the quarterfinals and possibly moving all of our resources towards that.
Exactly.
Anything else you'd like to add to this podcast, Ped? This very special edition.
Special edition because it's like in the middle of the afternoon.
Right.
No, I'm just thanks for everyone who's been saying, "Where are you? What are you doing? Have you just packed in?" And all
it
this?
definitely has made us feel missed and loved and appreciated, and we do deeply apologize for the lack of regularity in our broadcasts. It's out of my control at the moment. I'm doing everything I can to get done with my but
it won't happen. It won't happen again. It won't happen again. Now we're getting back into it every week, and considering that we've done it pretty much for nearly 5 years for every single week of the league season, we've done pretty well to have a gap of 3 or 4 weeks where we've missed out. As I mentioned before, I do plenty of other things where it doesn't feel like necessarily it's a gap missing for me.
Right.
So
It's definitely been a gap missing for me. I've definitely felt disconnected from Everton and everything, not being able to chat and get some of these things off of my chest and talk. So and then just look at Ped for an hour.
beautiful, beautiful.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much appreciated. Let's get a victory or at least advance in Kiev, and let's put that nail into QPR's coffin, and because they're a horrible club and they need to go down. Come on, you Blues. Let's go.